The federal government is launching a new effort to tackle anti-Muslim hate. It has just named the country's first representative on combating Islamophobia. Amira Elghawaby is a journalist, activist, and human rights advocate. She was introduced this morning by Housing and Diversity and Inclusion Minister Ahmed Hussein.
I want to speak to those who are watching at home. To the young kid watching this who's been worried about what you're seeing on TV, in your community and in your school, I want you to know that I see you, we see you, and that you matter in this country. To the young hijabi, the young hijab-wearing woman who might feel fear while she works down the street, we will do everything in our power to make sure that we fight for a shared belief in Canada, that we all belong.
It's our hope that we can use this moment to spur a national conversation about the value of Canadian diversity, including the richness of Canada's Muslim communities in our collective success as a nation.
And the CBC's Megan Fitzpatrick is tracking the story for us. She joins us now live in Toronto. So what more can you tell us about this job and what the position actually involves?
Well, Arthi, the idea for the position stemmed from a national summit on Islamophobia that was held in July of 2021. And that summit was held in the wake of a family in London, Ontario, a Muslim family being killed by a driver. Police say that was a hate-motivated attack. And so this summit was held, and this was one of the recommendations that came out of it, to create this office of a special representative. So about a year after that, they launched the search for candidates to fill this position, and today we have the announcement of who it will be. And as for what she will do, the government is saying that that Elghawaby will be a champion and an advocate for Muslim communities in Canada, an advisor, an expert advisor to the government on its efforts to combat Islamophobia. Here's a bit more of Ahmed Hussein describing the job.
She will raise awareness and help celebrate the diverse and intersectional identities of Muslim Canadians from coast to coast to coast. She will work with other national advocates to champion the protection of human rights in Canada, including the freedom of religion.
And the government's calling this a historic announcement, a historic role, really. They're saying it's not only a first in Canada, Arthi, but a first in the world. They say no other government country has a position like this. It is being welcomed by groups like the National Council of Canadian Muslims, who say they're pleased that this has finally become a reality, that it's a welcome step, and they look forward to working with the special representative, saying there's a lot of work to be done, unfortunately. You know, they were citing that the rise in Islamophobia in Canada, they say, incidents in recent months and years, and so they look forward to working with her to combat that, they say.
And Megan, let's talk a little bit more too about Amira Elghawaby. Of course, we mentioned she's a journalist and she's been a human rights advocate, of course, who's even appeared on CBC News. Tell us more about her.
Yeah, exactly. She started her career here at the CBC as a journalist, longtime advocate. She's held a number of roles since then, including working for the National Council of Canadian Muslims. She also is a founding member of the Canadian Anti-Hate Network. She currently works at the Canadian Race Relations Foundation. She also sits on the National Security Transparency Advisory Group, which advises the Federal Minister of Public Safety. So she has quite an extensive resume. She said in her remarks, Arthi, that she looks forward to being a bridge builder and inspiring Canadians to better understand the Muslim communities in this country in an effort to combat Islamophobia. Here's a bit more of what she said during her speech.
We should not be worried about stepping onto public transit. We should not be afraid that someone is going to start yelling at us or throwing something or even physically assaulting us. These are not fears that we should have in Canada, and I am determined to work with communities to find solutions, to listen to community advocates and leaders who are working on this and have been working on this, to ensure that every single person feels safe.
Now, this is a new job, a new position, so it'll take a little bit of time to set the office up. That will start happening in the coming weeks. And she said she will be doing outreach to communities across the country, and there'll be a variety of ways for Canadians to get in touch with her as well. She's saying it really is a priority for her to listen to communities about their challenges and barriers that they face. And her, one of her key goals is to build a more inclusive Canada, she said.
Thanks for this, Megan. That is the CBC's Megan Fitzpatrick in Toronto.